A few videos ago, I showed this quilt in one of my lessons from an old quilt. So this is a Northern Lights quilt block, and it's so cool. Anyway, the quilt itself, you can see, is just falling apart. It's a mess, and I want to save at least part of this quilt and see what I can do. I also love the backing and definitely want to save that if I can. The insides, the guts of this, is this weird, very scratchy blanket. And I just realized this blanket's pieced together like felt. I don't know what that is, just as I was pulling that out. Anyway, I have a very well ventilated area. I am going to take this apart. I mentioned in the video that this green fabric here is mostly dry rotted. You can see that here. Oh my goodness. These blocks are great. I'm hoping to save them. Not sure what I'm going to do with them. Been putting off making this video because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But you know what? I'm just going to go with it, and we're going to see what we see. And if I make a project, I make a project. And if I don't, I don't. We'll see at the end, because I really don't know either. So I'm gonna get started tearing this apart. Before I do, my name is Chris O'Neill from Sew the Distance. Thank you for joining me. I do tutorials, and I also do a whole lot with old quilts, especially lessons from an old quilt. I like to save these. They're great. So let's try to save this quilt too. Okay, so I have my trash can here. I have some tools. I'm probably gonna pull some other tools just so it can aid me with pulling this apart. I'm gonna try to save as much as possible. I'm gonna start by cutting these ties, and I'm gonna speed up this process for the most part. Unless there's something I need to talk about, then I'll slow it back down so you're not completely bored by watching me tear apart a quilt. So let's lay it flat in a well-ventilated area. I have the windows open. Nice breeze coming in, and we're going to get this going. And I'm just carefully snipping these ties. And if you watch the original video, you'll know that there's not many ties in it, so this isn't going to take long. Okay, I think I got them all. I got to be careful. And the reason I didn't just go ahead and start like trimming these out is because I didn't want any of this to pull with the ties in it, so I definitely wanted this loose. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the backing out. I don't think I'm going to be able to save any of this green because it's all pretty, it's just dry rotted. You can tell it tears so easily. So what I could do, and like I said, I'm just going in on by the seat of my pants with this, I could just go ahead and cut out all of these squares, but I'm going to take it slow because I can make an assessment as I go. I'm just going to go in and get it folded up on the table, I think. Again, I don't want the strain on it. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and, oh boy, I hate that there's blocks stuck in there. All right, so we're going to use a seam ripper for that part. I'm going to see what we can see. I'm just going in there gently with the seam ripper, trying not to damage any blocks. So you can see how they folded it in when they made it. Look at that. So there is a block in there. Definitely want to save that. Okay, so this is where they apparently pieced together some blanket or batting. They didn't have enough, which is so cool. It's just so innovative. We don't think to do this stuff, or at least I don't, when I'm making a quilt. So we can just learn so much. So I'm going to take that apart and, oh, keep going. I know it's hard to do, but I need this out. All right. I think I'm free of this. I am not. Ah, it's free. All right, I'm taking this outside. Okay, so it's out on the porch. It's really stinky and it's really gross. I'm gonna vacuum in here and get everything cleaned up as much as I can. I also am gonna shake this quilt top out, and I kind of have a shell right now. I have it, innards are gone, but the front and back is somewhat on, so I do need to pick those apart with the seam ripper, which is gonna take me some time, but it's coming along. Let's keep going. As I was trying to tear it apart, the backing was also dry rotted and it just tore whenever I put the seam ripper touching to it, so I just kind of went with it. And I do have the backing separate. I'm going to try washing this, seeing if it can be saved, but I do believe it is in pretty rough shape too, which breaks my heart because I absolutely love this fabric. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, I'm gonna put this aside. I do have this weird corner here that I kind of have to tear apart. It's in rough shape too. I'm gonna work on that. And then we should have a very tattered quilt top. And I'm starting to question what the heck I was thinking. And you're probably doing the same thing. But I am gonna try to save these blocks, and I don't know if I can or not, but we're gonna try. All right, this corner, oh, I don't even know what to do here. I don't even know what they did. All right, I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it. Okay, so I got this corner picked out. No, I can't even find it. It's here somewhere. This one, now where, I don't know. It's here somewhere. But what was really interesting to me is it was all stitched down like that by hand. Oh, here we go. Was this it? Yes, this is it. So it was even the stitches that were holding it down in that big lump were stitched by hand. Incredible, incredible. Okay, so now we have the quilt top and a whole lot of dust and dirt. I have to back up again. All right, I'm gonna try to flip this over, get it flat so you can see it. And all I'm gonna do is cut out these blocks. That's it. I'm not trying to save the green anymore. It is in rough shape and I'm not going to do that. The edges themselves, I'm going to cut too and see what fabrics I can save, if any. But the edges definitely got worn more than anything else, which is typical with old quilts. That's what happens. All right, so here we go. All right, so I have all the blocks cut apart. You can see them here, as many as I could get. I also have this mess that I need to go through and see what I can save for fabrics, if I can. As I was doing this, I was thinking, I think I'm gonna leave them with the green on them and I'm gonna hand wash these, and I'm just gonna put them into a tub with some mild detergent just to get them clean before I start taking them apart, because I wanna make sure this part stays intact. That's where I'm at right now. I also thought about basting these right like this before I took them apart with my machine. My goal is to keep everything intact as much as possible, and since they're hand stitched, I'm a little nervous though about putting these in water, so maybe I'll do half, and then that way I'm making the risk less. So I am gonna do that, and all I'm gonna do is a bucket, I'm not gonna record this part, but it's just a bucket of warm soapy water, mild detergent. I like Biz, and that's what I go to, and then I'll rinse it with water, and maybe I should just record it, but that's all I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna take about, I don't know, I'm even nervous about taking half. I'm gonna take like 10 to start with and see how it goes. And see if we can get these clean, keep them stable, and then I can take the green off. Oh, one more thing about that before I go, let me sit down. I don't want to put these in the machine. They will disintegrate in the machine, or they could disintegrate in the machine. Any of the edges that are exposed inside the blocks are gonna fray. These are gonna fray. It's just not a good idea until we can get this stable and quilted down on something, whether it's a table run or a little tote, something. We're gonna do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash some of these. Okay, I'm out here with my helper. See Daisy's down here. Hopefully you can see her. And I'm gonna put some of these into this bucket and just let them soak. So there's some Biz in this bucket, it's warm water, and we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna let them soak for probably 10 or 15 minutes. All right, we're gonna put them in here. They are dirty. All right, look at that. All right, we'll agitate them a little. Ugh. All right, I'm also gonna separate them up on the deck so she does not drink it, because I don't trust you. All right, I'm at my kitchen sink, and this water, I mean, I think I have 10 of these in there. It is filthy. It is so gross. So I'm going to, oh my gosh, so gross. I'm going to dump these, I have an old colander. Maybe that's the best way to do it, and then rinse them in that. Let me grab an old colander. All right, colander, I'm gonna dump these in carefully. Oh my goodness, this water is so gross. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the water? Oh, so gross. All right, I'm gonna rinse these with cold water and see where we're at. I'm gonna turn the water off so you can hear me. I'm not wringing them out. I'm kind of just, I don't want to stress the fibers at all, so I'm just kind of squeezing gently, and I'm just going to keep going. I'm also going to dump this dirty water. There we go. And just lay them here for now. Okay, these are all rinsed. I put them back in here. I'm going to put some towels outside and lay them flat on my porch to dry. Then I'm gonna wash the rest of them because these seem to survive this really well. You can see everything kind of, oops, it's flipped. Everything's kind of stayed intact. It's still threadbare, but look at those stitches. You can still see the hand stitches. So incredible. All right, I'm gonna do that, get the rest of them soaking, and we're gonna see when they're dry what we can work with and what we can save. Here they are, I got them all taken apart. If you are gonna do this exactly the same way that I did it, make sure that you press them before you start taking off those borders because it just makes the job so much easier. But oh my goodness, look at all those little tiny stitches. I love them. And then I love how some of them, you can see how they faded over the years. And you can also see some basting stitches that are in that I'm gonna try to save. I don't know if I can. So here's how I proceeded after I got these all taken apart. I also, oh, before I talk about that, I also, the pieces that I couldn't get everything, I pulled apart just units from the blocks, just so I could save as much as possible. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these yet. Anyway, so for these blocks, and I already started with a little project, I decided not to make a quilt as much as I wanted to make a quilt. It wasn't a good idea just because of the size. I wouldn't have had enough. And yeah, I could have put wide borders and everything, but when I started laying them out and really playing with them, I realized pretty quickly that I wanted to do something else. And here's a picture of a 9 patch. I thought that was really cute. I also tried just a yellow in the center. I love the way the yellow looks with these, by the way. But then when I put them all together without doing anything, oh my goodness, I fell in love. So I decided to make a zipper pouch, which I'll show you in a minute. But first I want to show you how I prepped these blocks. So I took the blocks just like this. This is one I haven't prepped yet. And I pressed a stabilizer. So this is a woven, I have a bunch cut because I have a bunch more to do. A woven stabilizer, I think it's Pellon 101. And there's one side that's like a woven fabric, and that's going to stabilize this block. These blocks, all of these blocks. And then the other side is Fusible. So I cut this a little oversized, and then I place it on the back and press it. After that, I take a ruler that is 4.5 inches by I think like 8. I don't know, I have it here somewhere. And I make sure I line it up so the center point is on the center of this block, and that way I can trim it up and then turn it and trim it up again to 4.5 inches. The reason I picked 4.5 inches, even though I'm losing points, is because this block was so tattered on the edges and I want to make sure it's stabilized. And the reason that I put the stabilizer in the back, of course, is to stabilize all of that wonderful goodness in these blocks. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I made a zipper pouch. It's so cute. You ready to see it? Oh my goodness, look at this. This is with the blocks, and it's just a big old zipper pouch. I had some vintage fabric that I used for the inside, and this took 9 of the blocks. So I'm gonna make a couple of these, I think, with the rest. I might make a tote bag. This is constructed, by the way, the same way this one's constructed out of an old quilt, and I have a video on that I'll tag at the end so you can see that. This is an old quilt that I also upcycled into a zipper pouch, and I do show how to make the zipper pouch. This one's just a little bit bigger, but I have all the instructions there for you. So what should I make with the rest of these? Like, aren't they great? And I love the busyness and how they look all together. It's such a contrast from the original quilt, I know, but to me it's just so wonderful. And I'm gonna definitely use it if it's in this state. I could also make a pillow. I could do, I don't know, maybe placemats or a table runner, but I'm gonna stick with small projects for this. I also did wash this and I did get it clean. It is a little fragile. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I love this vintage Christmas print. And then of course, all of the other stuff, the leftovers that I had went into a bin to make dog beds. I try to upcycle as much as I possibly can so it reduces the waste going into the landfills. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you check out my website. I will have a blog up on this eventually. I don't think I do right now, but I will. I promise. I'll have a blog up on it. Also, I'll show all of the things that I end up making on my blog and also on Instagram and on Facebook. So make sure you join those groups too. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you take some time to sew. I hope you upcycle some old quilts, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.